All the science, at least the contemporary science over the last decade, has so strongly supported the idea that pain is not an adequate indication of tissue damage. This is just simply not true. Pain is something that's made or created. Your brain utilizes all these different experiences and areas to decide if it wants to produce a pain experience. So the context that you're in is a very important cue to your brain. It weighs up so many different things before it decides whether or not to give you the pain experience. So in our first session last time, we discussed the idea of pain being a really unreliable indicator of tissue damage. And hopefully after realizing that and doing a bit of homework, that's empowered you a little bit. That's a piece of information, you previously didn't have before, but now you do. All the science, at least the contemporary science over the last decade, has so strongly supported the idea that pain is not an adequate indication of tissue damage. This is just simply not true. I love this idea that pain is more of a protector than anything else. Pain is just this part of your body that's trying desperately to protect you. And yeah, sometimes it's misinformed, it's not always doing the right thing, but at its heart, it's just trying to protect you. And, we've really got to honor that output, honor that process that the body is going through to try and look after you, and then gradually teach it some better ways of doing things. We also looked at this idea of pain being a constructed output of your brain. That's not to say it's not real, because it's very real. It's a very real experience, but it is an experience constructed within the brain. So it's not detected like heat or chemical detectors sense external stimuli. Pain is something that's made or created. Your brain utilizes all these different experiences and areas to decide if it wants to produce a pain experience. So the context that you're in is a very important cue to your brain. It weighs up so many different things before it decides whether or not to give you the pain experience. If you're walking across the highway and there's so many cars, there's traffic, you're feeling very overwhelmed, and you step on a nail, you're probably not going to experience pain just because your brain has other more important things that it needs to prioritize at that time. But if you're stumbling into the kitchen at 2 o'clock in the morning and you step on a nail or you kick your foot into a chair, you're probably going to experience a lot of pain, enough to probably drop that plate of cookies. Another example is if you look at your favorite sports team, and what frequently happens is that someone will score a goal and all their teammates will jump on top of them and they will rejoice and everyone will be so happy. And the poor teammate who's just been jumped on by everybody, he's looking so happy. I mean, he doesn't feel pain. And why would he feel pain? He's surrounded by his friends. He's joyous. But what's really interesting is that if he's walking in the street and a group of people jump on him in a dark alley in the middle of the night when he's not expecting it, and it's raining and it's miserable and he can't see properly, with the exact same force as his teammates during that celebratory moment when he scored the goal, he's likely to experience a lot of pain. And actually in that situation, he's likely to venture forth into, a long period of probably even chronic pain. That's the role of context and how important context can be in generating this pain experience. I know from my own life, the moments when I have the most pain was when I was surrounded by people, particularly in a work setting. And I have a lot of people-pleasing tendencies. And when I was surrounded by all of these people, I felt the intense need to please others. I've always struggled with chest pain, and being in the work environment, especially with a boss who, wasn't always that accommodating, that made it almost excruciatingly painful. But on the other hand, there was some context that certainly helped me. Being at home, shutting my door, in that situation with a TV, with the door shut and the aircon on, maybe my wife and my child are around me because I don't feel like I need to adopt those same tendencies that I do at work. It didn't fully take away my pain, definitely not. But there were definitely moments when it was noticeable that context was much better than other contexts. So the idea here is to figure out what contexts does your body need to feel like it needs to protect itself more in, and what context does it feel safer in. So your next homework assignment for this week is to think about moments when your pain is drastically less. Is it with someone you love? Is it when you're out in nature? Think about moments when your pain is significantly worse. Are you in your doctor's office? Are you seeing an x-ray of your back and hearing some very dangerous words that, might not in fact even be true? Once we realize what contexts are better for our pain, we can have an appreciation for the idea that pain relies on so many different things. And we can also begin to seek out those contexts that are better for us, or at least better for our pain. And you certainly can't ignore all the difficult contexts, but you can also gradually retrain yourself in in those contexts. So, for example, in my case, where I knew that people pleasing and being around a boss was something that drastically impacted my pain, I gradually learned how to reduce these people-pleasing tendencies, be more authentic in the workplace. It's a very fine balancing act of seeking out better context, challenging the difficult context, and still facing them with bravery. And as always, if you have any questions, you're welcome to email me or get in touch with me on my website, reframepain.com. I'm so glad to be on this journey with you, and I'm looking forward to seeing you all again soon.